So, as a new Ribbon partner, you will have access to a number of capabilities that we offer through our partner website. So it is quite important that you register for an account on our partner portal. And the way in which you do that is you go to this page that I'm showing now, ribboncommunications.com/partners here, and I will put that in the chat as well. 1 second. And this page is really the portal, the welcome point for all of our partners. So when you have request an account, you'll be presented with a form, which you fill in a very simple form, doesn't take long. And when that is submitted, it will go to my team, and we will set you up with a partner account. So once you have the credentials for that partner account, you can then log into the portal. There is a guide on how to use the portal here. So if you want to understand what the portal is about, or you want some reference documentation, you can just click on that button and it will bring you to the partner user guide. And there's pages which explain to you what is in the user guide and how to get to the various items in case you're finding my presentation difficult to follow. So what I'm going to do now is log into the portal using our test account. It's called Ribbon Distributor, and Ribbon Distributor can see many things in the portal, nearly everything actually the portal has to offer. You may not see all of these things when you log in, but we tailor your profile to the products that you are reselling and also to your major interests. So some of these things you may see here as Ribbon Distributor in this demonstration, they may not be relevant to your business, but I will show you the things which will be relevant to the business of reselling the Ribbon SBC Edge portfolio. So without further ado, I'd like to move into the portal. So we press the login to portal, and this brings us to a login screen. And from the login screen, it will take us, actually, I've already logged in once, so it remembers me, I'm sorry. So it will take us to the home page. So the home page is your center for all information that you want about Ribbon and the product portfolio and the partner program that we run. So you'll see in the middle here, there's a window which talks about all the latest additions. There is a large number of resources behind this window, which concern you have Welcome to Ribbon, so that's our standard corporate presentations. We have marketing and product collaterals. We have a set of presentations relating to the partner program. That's kind of overviews. We have the partner newsletter, which is sent every month and is updated live here. This is a live update. So in order to access this, you can see advertising Ribbon Insights in Prague, as I just mentioned, with links to the relevant documentation, upcoming webinars, events, and what we are doing in the press, and also various white papers and so on. So please bear in mind that this is for all of our partners. It's not just for our Cloud and Edge or SBC Edge partners. So you will see content in here again, which is relevant to the whole Ribbon portfolio. So the partner portal is designed to be very intuitive. So you have a home page. You can always go back to that home page. And from the home page, you can then reach out to any of the documentation that is in the resources file here, this black button. Equally, you have a number of sales tools here, and we'll be going through the sales tools in a minute. I will just give you a little bit more information on the navigation around the resources. So if you are looking for how to create quotations, there is a section on quoting Ribbon products here. If you are interested in the detailed partner program documentation, so the terms and conditions of the program, what are the requirements and so on, you can check here, and this will tell you exactly. There is a document here called the program guide. It's a very legal document, but it's effectively the contract between us as a partner and vendor. and this everybody has access to. You can also access here the any promotions and events. So you will see here on the events, this webinar is advertised. So this is typically where we advertise events. And you can also see details of our deal registration program and our rewards program for partners who are of the silver tier and above. So to explain the program a little bit, I'm just going to briefly go through the partner program presentation, just so you all understand where you are. So we have a program which I'll just jump through to the so this is typically the model with which you will be working. This is our distribution model, where you will be working as our channel partner, buying from an authorized distributor and selling to an end customer. We do have a high-touch go-to-market model, which is reserved for partners of specific parts of our portfolio, notably our IP and optical portfolio, and certain other partners who demonstrate a large volume of business with particular customers. So in addition to that, we have a number of different partners. Within our program, everybody here on this call is a solution partner. This is the vast majority of our partners. And as you can see, there are a number of tiers. There's a bronze tier, a silver tier, a gold tier, and a platinum tier. Today, you will be entering the program at the bronze tier level. We have other kinds of partners, so cloud-hosted, partner-hosted partners. We have a special program for our US federal government partners. But I would say like 95% of our partners fall within the solution partner category. We have a number of benefits available to partners. So as you can see, some of them start at the silver tier. So often a question is, how do I go from bronze to silver? I will cover that in a minute. And you can see there is a registration program, there are rewards programs. We have special promotions which are open to everybody. You also have not for resale, lab equipment, again, silver partners and so on. And you all have a channel team relationship. You all get a locator listing on Ribbon's webpage, so I'll show you that in a second. And you all get personal access into the portal. And there are also online configuration tools, which we will not go through in detail today. And then inventory support, contract management tools. This is really for later in your career with us as a partner. And you all have access to the technical documentation in the support portal, which we will also go through today. And what we will be focusing on in the second half of our the meeting today is the sales and sales engineer training, which is an on-demand online training course. We will not be talking about the Ribbon technical certifications in a lot of detail. This is really for a later stage when you decide if you wish to participate in Ribbon support activities for our products. So that's a quick outline of the program benefits. We also have a number of different requirements. So silver partners, we have an expectation of doing about $100,000 of sales a year. In order to become an authorized partner, we need to do the sales and sales engineering training, which is what we will do today. And then in order to proceed to the silver partner level, you need to accredit. So we need to do some technical training and achieve accreditation for one of Ribbon's product portfolios. And after that, you're in the silver category. We are really looking for $100,000 a year in sales from our silver partners. And then there are hard thresholds in terms of sales volumes to go to gold and to go to platinum levels, which are based upon how much a Ribbon product you manage to sell within the year. And the thresholds there are $1 million and $3 million. Okay, so that's really quick summary of how you go from bronze to silver to gold to platinum, and also of the benefits. And obviously this presentation is available for you in the partner portal at all times. So let's just go back to the portal itself. So that's a real quick overview. If you want to know about all the training, certification training options, there are training documents here. which outlines all the different training courses and what needs to be done to achieve a certification for each of the product portfolios. I think that's the main. We do have an onboarding guide if you find anything that I've said here not clear, which explains the steps you go through to become an authorized partner. So going back to the homepage, what I really want to spend some time on today is to talk about the sales tools that we make available. I'm not going to talk in detail about the deal registration or the other programs on rewards, because that's not really relevant until you have reached the silver partner status. But what you do have available is a range of sales tools here, which we will talk about. The key one that is important when you're getting started is the support portal. So the support portal is accessible in this way through the partner portal. And we have launched that a number of times inadvertently. Close that down. There we go. So this is the Ribbon support portal. And in the same way that you have a personalized homepage in the partner portal, you also have a personalized profile within the support portal. And the support portal has a number of areas which are normally of interest to our first-time partners. The first one is the knowledge area, which contains all of the technical documentation, which we make available to our partners. So just excuse me a second. Get that. There we go. So this is an extremely comprehensive area. You really need to use the search function here to look at work out what you're looking for. Here you see, as soon as I put in SBC, we start to see the various articles on SBC Edge and SBC Core, which are our two SBC portfolios. We'll be focusing on SBC Core. Obviously, this is really the technical documentation repository. Once we've been through the sales training, you may be in a better position to understand what you're looking for within the sales, within the support portal. But knowledge is your first port of call for anything which is technical in nature regarding our products. You can also get here software downloads. So software downloads across all our products come from here. So you have to enter your codes to get your software download. And we also have a set of tools and services available in the support portal here. So you can schedule an upgrade. You can go to our toolbox. There is a quick configuration tool in here, which is available for the SBC. So this is how you can set up and diagnose SBC quickly. Sorry, Alex, there we go. Also, you have in the support portal, second, go back to that one. Oh yeah, you have the anything that we have, announcements on products, and also support cases. Now, support cases, in order to raise a support case directly on Ribbon, you have to have an accreditation. So this is really something for silver partners and above. Please, if you are looking to raise a support case in future, then you must do that through the party from whom you have bought the support. So if you have bought that from your distributor, or if you have already got accreditation and are selling the support contracts, reselling our support contracts in the two categories we have for partners, which are partner care and distributor care, then you're able to raise tickets yourself or raise them through the distributor from whom you bought the service. End customers can only raise tickets on our support portal if they have bought our enterprise care service, which is direct support by Ribbon. So that's a support package which you resell to the end customer, but you do not participate in the support process with your own people. So that's a quick overview of what we have within the support portal. I'm going to talk very briefly now about the other things that you can access from inside of the homepage. So the support portal as a first point of contact for technical documentation, marketing and program collateral. This is the first point of contact for anything which is a marketing nature or campaign nature. And here you see, again, another very extensive set of documents. You need to choose your search term, and you can see this goes back. It has all of the end of life announcements, so anything which is being end of life is in here. The data sheets are in here. We have multiple languages available, and also case studies are published here. And if you look across the whole portfolio, we have also white papers on different product propositions. So we have a blog. We have all of our blog articles in here. You can see we have any reports which might be needed for sustainability or for background for RFP purposes, and then we have all of the brochures as well. So there's an extensive capability set in the marketing and product collaterals, and there's also a large amount of technical documentation in the support portal. What we're going to talk about today are, I'll just show you a couple of other tools before we move on to the training. There is the ability here to create a quote. So if you're in a sales role, it's possible to go in and create a quote for your customer. And you can see these are mostly test quotes because you can see my favorite account for test quotes here. These test quotes, you could have real quotes here, which you can create either take to your distributor partner to ask them for a quote, because that will have the bill of materials in it, or you can ask if you have a direct partner contract with us, which a few of you may have, then you can actually create a quote for your end customer directly here in the create a quote environment. I'm just going to close down some of these because it seems like we're opening them multiple windows. But why it's opening multiple windows. So that's create a quote. You also have the ability to track your orders. Any orders that you place against us here in the orders tracking. Obviously, I'm using a test account, so you won't see any actual orders. Just take a second. There we go. So you can search by the ribbon order number and so on. We have a few test ones here using my test distributor and test end customer. And you can obviously filter on these. So when you have hopefully placed many orders with us, then you can work out where they're at and when they are scheduled to ship based on the order date, and how it's a window into our system so that you can see how we regard the orders that you have sent to us. And also, for some reason we're doing multiple windows again. Excuse me for this. Also, you can track at a later date, once you have support contracts in place, the support contracts which are with your partners, with your end customers rather, and obviously distributors can do the same thing for their partners too, and you have a number of different ways to search to find out the status of support contracts that you have with us. Okay, so what I'm really going to focus on today, a large part of today, is going to be around the training. And the training is the first step on the road to becoming an authorized partner. So we will, again, I don't know why we're setting up multiple of these. Just to close some of them off. Oh yeah, so this has brought us into the learning, our learning management system, which we call Ribbon Academy. There we go. So when you go into the Ribbon Academy, you'll see that you also have a personalized page. So this page relates to you. That means that when you take tests and accumulate certifications. You can be tracked. We can track this, and we can tell you exactly where you are, so we know where you are and you know where you are in terms of the training programs. There is a purple button here, which is called the Partner Catalog. When you go into the Partner Catalog, you will see a wide range of certification trainings which are available. The training course that we will be looking at today is the SBC CE 200. That is to the SBC Edge and EMS Sales and Sales Engineering Professional Certification. And this is the basic certification in order to start with our SBC Edge portfolio. As you can see, we have large numbers of other ones. We have for our new Edge 8000, which is an Edge and router, Edge SBC and router. We have a separate sales certification course. We have certification courses for all of our process, our portfolios here. And you can also see for the different products for our management platform. This is a professional support certification. So this is a certification, technical training, and you can see these have prices. All of the training that we'll be looking at today is sales training. It's flagged here in the corner, sales training. These are free of charge courses, but they are only available to our partners. So the one that, as I said, we will be looking at today is the SBC 200 here. I'm going to start that one from the beginning. So let me just put in SBC CE 200. And this is what it looks like. So you'll see it's marked as a sales training. That means there is no cost to do this. I'm sorry, was there a question?
All right, the WDM. Yeah, the problem is in 1 hour I have to go, so.
Hello, Marek. Hey. So did you have a question? Okay, so I'll continue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start into the SBC Edge and EMS Sales Engineering Professional qualification. And I'm going to start from the beginning. So this is the training course which we ask that all of our partners, at least 2 people in each of our new partners, successfully passes. So you have to take this online course and pass. And then we mark you as a fully authorized partner. There are certain other steps if you wish to take, as I said, the technical certifications to become support accredited or implementation accredited for our specific product portfolios. And those are the other trainings which you see which are chargeable. We do give vouchers or effectively free training places for the first 2 so that you can take the step to become a silver partner from a bronze partner to unlock the silver partner benefits. But that is normally a decision which our partners make after they have done the sales training and have established a pipeline of opportunities for them to do with us. So the SBC Edge really is looking at, as this course content says, what is a ribbon SBC? So for those of you who are not familiar with the ribbon SBC and its applications, we will go through that. We'll go through the actual platforms which we offer for our enterprise SBC or our Edge SBC applications. We're going to talk about how our SBC works with Teams, with Zoom, the various UC cloud providers. Also, specifically, we're going to focus on direct routing for Teams Phone and why we have a particularly strong offer in that area. And then additional detail on the services, some of the key selling points. We are going to have a brief introduction to the Edge 8000, which is our new product family in the Edge SBC Enterprise SBC area. We're going to talk about our software edition, virtual SBC Suite Edge. And we're going to talk about contact center applications and then a quick summary of what are the key strengths of the ribbon SBC when you're selling ribbon SBC. And then at the end, there is a test So in order for you to be able to get the certificate and take the test, please register for the partner portal and go into the training application, go through this course and take the test at the end. I'm going to go through the questions and the answers so that you have an opportunity to see how that works. And then, but you have to do this for yourself to gain the certification. So let's work our way through the course then. So this is the basic value proposition. When you are navigating your way around, you can choose any of the sections. If you feel that when you're going through, you know already about this area, you have knowledge in this area, you can just skip, and you can skip to the end of the course if you wish, and just take the test. In order to get the certification, you have to have a 70% score or higher in the final test. And the final exam is you will find that questions are in the final test based on all of the modules which are here. So you do have to know your content of the module pretty well in order to get a high mark for that module, and in order to get a high mark for the final test as well. And once you have attended a 70% score, at the end of each module, there's a test quiz. So I can take you through those, and that will cover all of the questions that you might have in the final test. But as I said before, you need to register yourself and take the final test yourself in order to gain the sales certification. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this course. I'm not going to play the audio. As you can see on the side, there is a text version of what the commentator is saying in each slide. So there is actually you will hear, if you wish to, I'll just give you a quick version of this. So you will hear Paul's voice on every chart. I will stay away from playing those because it does make it a little bit longer, and I will just hit the highlights on each chart as we go through. So really the objectives of this chart set is to share what are the market segments, which are SBC Edge addresses, what is the opportunity in that market segment, and to talk about the benefits of our Edge SBC portfolio in compared with other offerings in the market. So as I said, we've already been through this content section, but as I said before, it's a basic 101, which is how we're going to start. Oops. To the next session. Here we are. So this is what we call SBC 101. This is the basic grounding in what an SBC does and why people buy it. And the first thing is that there's SBC is part of the cloud transformation. It's an enabler for cloud transformation for enterprises. And the key things that organizations want when they move to the cloud is security. They want to know that the solutions that they're putting in are tested, because for them, the customer, it's a new world. They want to assure that those solutions are secure. So when they go into the cloud, they're not going to be opening up their internal communications to interception or interference. And it must not disrupt the workflows in the business, or the employees must be able to use these their voice services exactly the same way that they do today. So it's basically about security, dependability, and lack of disruption in this migration to the new world of the cloud. And there are certain barriers to cloud migration, which we help to fix for our customers. Obviously, we are certified and tested with the leading cloud platforms, the UC providers. We have invested a great deal in integrating gracefully with existing voice services platforms, PBX investments, call centers, and so on. We allow the customers to maintain or extend their existing service provider relationships. So we interwork with service provider networks all around the world. And we also allow contact centers to be migrated to cloud implementations without disruption, and connect legacy systems and devices. So these are typically those devices which are not going to be an IP devices in the very near future, such as paging, door phones, elevator phones, or my personal favorite, emergency phones on firing ranges. So these are the sorts of things that we solve with our SBC. And the way to look at the SBC is really, as Paul puts it, the air traffic control and the security guard on your voice communications. So it's a specialized firewall. It's a firewall that inspects the real-time communications traffic in detail, providing a first line of defense against overload, denial of service attacks. It's capable of maintaining its defensive posture even when it's under attack. So it can keep your traffic safe even when there is a DDoS attack in progress. It's smarter than a conventional firewall, so it is able to close ports at the end of calls, because obviously calls are connections, and when the connection is finished, the SBC closes the door behind that, so that it minimizes the attack vector for interceptions. And it also integrates with our analytics platform and our centralized management platform in such a way that it provides a lot of information about traffic patterns, voice calling patterns, and automatic recognition of possible fraud or other incursions into your network. So it really does provide the world-leading quality in terms of voice security across the cloud and across the internet. How do we do this? So this is related to the way that Ribbon's SBC architecture is put together. So we have the back-to-back agent, user agent, which sits between the public internet and the private secured WAN. And to the public internet, this looks like a SIP client, effectively the SIP server in the public internet. And to the users community, it looks like a SIP server. So it's basically able to see every packet, all of the traffic associated with voice communications, and inspects it. And it can also do, has a media services module, which allows it to do transcoding for interoperability between different networks, like mobile networks, fixed networks, your Teams network, and so on. So the key thing about the way that Ribbon SBC works, we enforce the security. We use the highest current standard in security, which is the TLS 1.3. It's up and coming standard. The TS 1.2 is what we have today. And we also support NAT traversal. So this is a carrier grade, in fact, NAT implementation, so that we can connect your address space, IP address space, on the customer premise to the public IP network. And there's a significant amount of filtering as well, which we can apply to prevent denial of service attacks, and to make sure that traffic is correctly routed to the appropriate treatment, depending on whether it's an open network like an incoming call, or it's a trusted network. We also protect against denial of service attacks very effectively. It's a growth area. We've seen Lumen actually publish statistics on this in the United States, showing a 40% increase year over year in 2023, Q1 to Q1 from 2024. It's a growing threat for the enterprise. It's a particularly pernicious attack because distributed denial of service attacks the network from multiple sources, and if you don't have good security, you can actually become part of a DDoS on somebody else as well. So it's really an attempt by bad actors to flood your network and both deny service to your users and also expose vulnerabilities. So it's a very important key thing to be able to protect your networks against. The other thing that is a growing phenomenon is fraud on enterprises. Enterprises are seeing significant increases year on year of fraud, where there are a number of different ways that this happens. Toll fraud is one where you end up paying for the services which the bad actors actually consume. And then there's ID fraud, phishing, trying to induce people to send messages or buy services because they think they're dealing with your customer and they're actually dealing with the fraudster. So it's also just plain interception is a problem as well. So if intercepting the communications of your customers and then using that to perpetrate fraud on them, these are all three kind of key areas of attack which fraudsters use to try and defraud your customers. So it really is a key area. So denial of service and fraud are the two major areas of concern, and these are the two areas that we've focused on with the Ribbon enterprise router portfolio, enterprise SBC portfolio. So why is it different to a normal firewall? A normal firewall can't protect real-time communications because it doesn't have the information and the knowledge to access the SIP traffic, so the real-time communications protocol, and they tend to open pinholes which they leave open. So firewalls, you have to configure them in such a way as to leave particular ports open for particular services. The great thing about the SBC is, as I said before, it closes the pinholes that it opens once the call is over, once the call is terminated. So that's inherently a great deal more secure than a conventional firewall approach. So this gives a quick comparison of a conventional firewall versus an SBC. As you can see, there's a range of capabilities built into the SBC, which the firewall does not give you, and therefore SBCs are typically deployed together with a firewall in order to protect voice services and to improve voice quality. So basically, the way to look at this is that SBCs are a glue. They glue between the IP and cloud-based voice communications and legacy systems such as PBXs, call centers, and digital and analog trunks. And you'll also see that the SBCs, they support SIP devices, obviously, because they are about transitioning. So you can deploy SIP phones alongside PBX extensions in an enterprise. And it also provides a high level of redundancy in order to cope with disconnections of various kinds between the SIP server or between the internet and the premise of the customer. It also supports emergency calling, which in some countries is a regulatory requirement. So we have a wide range of capabilities which are supported on the SBC, which enable the behavior of the system on the customer premise to be the same, but still enable you to take advantage, or your customers to take advantage of the cloud for their communications. So that's an SBC in a nutshell, and that hopefully is addressing the. So I'm going to take the quiz. So this one is the test quiz at the end of each of the modules. So I'm going to go through this one. As you can see, SBC appliances, how do they integrate legacy communications? So you have to choose here which is the best answer, and their key thing is that they support legacy PBX and contact center integration. You get feedback that you are providing the right answer. It doesn't provide H.323 codec support. It does manage pinholes, but not in the firewall. It manages its own pinholes, and it doesn't support Microsoft calling plans. We'll talk about Microsoft calling plan and other UC options in a later module. Okay, so what features do Ribbon SBCs provide that a conventional firewall does not? Select all that apply. When you see select all that apply, that means there are multiple answers. So it does do media flood, topology hiding, header manipulation, and port mapping. So all of these. How does it protect real-time communications better than a firewall? So it doesn't eliminate UDP datagram spooling. It doesn't have anything to do with UDP. It does prevent, it closes ports to prevent toll fraud and eavesdropping, and allows legitimate SIP calls to flow. It doesn't prevent IP network flooding. So you could still flood the IP network, but you will not impact the voice ports. So these are the two that apply here. Now you really need to see what I mean when you need to know the detail of the information. So how many correspondents reported CFC voice forward increase? It was 51%. Sorry, so even I get these wrong myself. Year-over-year DOS attacks seen by Lumen was 40%. Key Ribbon security enforcement unique selling propositions. So we support NAT traversal. We support DDoS. We have TLS 1.3. We don't support DHCP routing. And the aspects of the SBC architecture, what are the unique selling points? So it these are irrelevant. It does touch every SIP packet. So that is really the thing which separates it from any other solution. And then what key capabilities do SBCs provide for voice security? So you'll see it does do checking of real-time traffic even under attack. It closes the ports after each call. It does not prevent SIP call forking. It actually enables it. And first line of defense against IP-directed broadcast. It isn't related to broadcast. Okay, I do see there's a question, so I'm going to just work through this first, and then we'll deal with the questions that's arisen. So what are the common migrations, cloud migration barriers that are solved by the Ribbon SBCs? We migrate PBX investments. We do not enable migration to Microsoft calling plans. Again, Microsoft calling plans is a separate way of reaching UC through the cloud, which is provided entirely by Microsoft. So I'll explain that in a bit. It doesn't secure against ICMP return attacks. That's a routing function, but it is certified and tested with leading cloud platforms. And then the key drivers, what are driving organizations to migrate to the cloud? There are definitely economies which can be realized by your customers through process digitalization. They clearly want to avoid business disruption. They want security, and they want certified and tested solutions. These are the key factors. So hopefully I passed. Well, I passed, and I can even review which ones I got wrong. So let's have a look at the 3 that we got wrong. That was correct. Oops, sorry, I think I've moved on. Okay, we'll do that on the next one. So before we start lesson 2, I see there are some questions. Okay. Okay, so I see there's a question from Luca that doesn't see SBC C200 in your account. So as Yoav points out, we need to check that. We will do that. Never received login details to access core training. So I'm not sure who Hassan. So Hassan, what you will find is if you can get into the partner portal, you should be able to get into the sales training as well. So as long as you can get as far as the home page, which was you can log into the portal here. One second. So as long as you can get to a home page which has your name in this corner, then you have access to your personal profile, and then you should be able to access training. Everybody we set up with a profile on the partner portal has access to the training. There is no need for any further login. This will log you automatically into the training learning management system. I'm just seeing if I've got it open. No, I don't. So if I go back to the training here from your home page, again, when you get into the Learning Academy, the Rune Academy, you should see your name here in the top corner. And this is your personalized page. And then when you go down here, you should see partner catalog. Okay, every partner user is set up with this profile. So if you're having a problem with that, there may be a mistake in the profile. But once you're into the partner catalog, you should be able to see all the sales trainings. Okay. Also, I see transcript is empty in the past. You passed some trainings. We'll take a look at that. Obviously, I can't access your personal transcript right now. I wouldn't want to do that in front of everybody, but I will get our training team to take a look at that and figure out if there's anything that's incomplete, maybe in your trainings there, Luca. Okay, so moving on then. Let's move back to my, got to find the course. Here we go. So we're moving back. This is now lesson 2 in the course. So the second module is really looking at what enterprise platforms do we make available. These are products that you can sell to your customers to go into their premises. So we have a portfolio of 3 different hardware platforms. There's the SBC 1000, the SBC 2000, and the Edge 8000 platforms, which are basically almost the same, but have some slight differences. And then we have a virtual SBC software platform. So I'll explain how that works. As you can see there, we also have some very large platforms, which we're not going to talk about today, for the service provider market, our 5000 and 7000 series. But the focus today is on the 1000, 2000, Edge 8000, and Software Edition or SWE Edge SBCs. And as you can see, there's a wide range of capacities. So the SBC 1000 supports up to 192 simultaneous sessions or call connections. The SBC 2000 supports up to 600. The Edge 8000 supports up to 900. And the SBC SWE, the software edition, again, depending on the virtual processing capacity that's put in place, and we have some examples of that when we talk about the SBC SWE, can manage up to 1,000 sessions. So this really allows you to cover for your customers from small branch office right up to a really large headquarters facility. And there are different options, as you can see here. I'll explain what the Teams SBA is about. FXO, FXS are obviously analog trunk capabilities, and there are also digital trunk capabilities, primary rate ISDN. And then we have in the Sui Edge, we have the ability for Edge 8000s and Sui Edge to do extensive transcoding, and we also have implementations in the software area for the Sui Edge to allow us to provide resiliency and redundancy operations, even from an SBC which is located on a virtual platform on premise. So moving on, we're now going to talk about the hardware or software deployment. So the 1000, 2000, and Edge 8000s are all hardware platforms, so they are boxes running our software. The Sui Edge is a software platform, and it can run either in a virtual environment on premise or in a customer's data center, such as running on Microsoft Hyper-V, on KVM, or on VMware. And then it can also run, we have versions which will run in Azure and Amazon Web Services cloud environments. So we can deploy into the public cloud, and we can deploy into what we call the private cloud. And then we can also deploy as an appliance if the customer is not deploying a cloud of any sort. And all of these versions have exactly the same certifications and deployment background. So they all interwork with the same cloud providers, with the same legacy vendors of PBXs, and with the same public service network providers, the PSTNs. So that's a great advantage of our portfolio. It doesn't matter which of these you deploy, you can still deploy them into the same environment with legacy vendors, with cloud UC providers, and also with PSTN providers. So talking quickly about what it is that the Sui Edge enables, it has, as I said, the same code set, the same management environment as our other SBCs. There is, it does pretty well everything except the actual analog interfaces, which obviously you need to have a device for. It does a significant amount of full function, shall we say, of all the SBC functions, including signaling encryption, message manipulation, transcoding, and encryption, and has branch survivability as well, which means that if it's located on a premise-based, on a customer premise-based data center, it can still provide survivability even if that data center is isolated from the internet. So local calls can continue to be processed. As you see here, there are two different deployments. There's the premises deployment and the public cloud deployment. There are some differences in terms of the capacity. So the premises deployment can go up to 1200 sessions. The public cloud deployment, we have tested at up to 1000 sessions. And the encryption capability is a little bit lower on the public cloud, simply because of the process-intensive nature of the encryption and transcoding capabilities. So the premises deployment has, in addition, the ability to support the virtual SBA, which means if I'm deployed on a server in a customer premise running any of these KVM, VMware, or Hyper-V, then if I'm cut off, my site is cut off from the internet, I can continue to process local calling. And also we have mid-call high availability options, which allows synchronized instances, which even allow for when one server goes down, a machine deployed on another server can take over calls in the middle of the call. Okay, I see there are a couple more questions here, so take a pause there to go through those. Can we get an image for VMware lab purposes? I would suggest, yeah, if you send Sui Edge support Nutanix, I can't tell you that. I'm not familiar with Nutanix, but we can certainly follow up. It looks like Rafa has offered to follow up.
I already answered that question, because
okay.
we have green light from PLM. to approve Nutanix, because Nutanix is based on KVM. And,
okay.
And we support KVM, no? But we need to make some tests in a lab environment.
Okay, and I think we have virtual version. Yes, okay. We will be talking about the trial version as well later on. So thanks, Keith, for that contribution. Okay, so let's move on then in the training. So we are now talking about SBC 1000, 2000, which are obviously the appliance, the boxes. So SBC 1000, again, exactly the same feature set there. It provides analog basic rate ISDN and primary rate ISDN ports, up to four ports of primary rate, 12 ports of basic rate, and up to 24 FXX or 24 FXO analog lines. It also has what's called a power off bypass, which means that in the event of power failure, it latches all the primary rate and FXX, FXO ports directly through to the PSTN access, so that calling can still proceed between those ports and the PSTN. In the case of the SBC 2000, it's a larger capacity box, up to 600 simultaneous sessions, up to 16 PRI links, and up to 48 analog ports. It has a high capacity DSP resource, so it's able to do a significant proportion of transcoding and encryption, and it has redundant power supplies. So rather than the approach taken by the SBC 1000, which is if your power fails, it latches the PSTN through on with a relay, the SBC 2000 has redundant power, which are hot swappable. So that's the two major platforms. As I say, SBC 1000 is for small offices. SBC 2000 is good for most large headquarters or data centers. And finally, we have the new product, the Edge 8000. So the Edge 8000, you will see the commonalities. It has all the same feature set. It actually runs an instance of our SBC SWE Edge on the box, but it also provides a router, 10G enterprise class router in the box. It has redundant power. It has AC or DC supply options. So we have two flavors, the 8100, which is IP only, and we have the 8300, which also provides the ISDN primary rates, 4 of those, 2 different options, either 24 FXX, FXS ports, or 2 FXO and 22 FXX ports. So it's basically got 24 analog ports, which can either come as 24 FXS or a mixture 22 FXS and 2 FXO. And it also has redundant AC and DC power supplies. So it's effectively our next generation of SBCs for customers who are really focused on cloud first and need that 10G router capacity on their premise. Okay, well, as you can see, I passed this the last time. We'll go through the quiz as well. Retake the quiz. So the capacities of the SBC SWE Edge. So now this is where I have to really remember what we have here. So this is this one, and AWS is 1,000. Azure is 1,000. I think that's correct. I think that's the right one. Okay, Edge 8300. What does it support? It will support 24 FXX ports. It supports 10G routing, redundant AC power. It does not have an integrated SBA. And I will talk about the integrated SBA in a minute. The features does the SBC 1000 support. So it has 192 sessions capacity. It will support an integrated SBA. It does not have redundant power. So the SBC 1000 is the one that has the switching of PSTN on power failure. and it doesn't have 2048 FXS ports. That's the SBC 2000. What systems are we proven to interoperate with? So we operate with Genesis, Teams, and Twilio. Which of the following lists are all SBC hardware platforms? Select all that apply. So we have, that's not all hardware platforms. These are all hardware platforms. Edge 8300, 1000, 2000. These are not all hardware platforms. These are all hardware platforms. And key features of the SBC Suite Edge. So we have Azure and AWS support. We don't have FXO and FXS options. We have 1,000 sessions capacity. Oh, I missed one. Which one did I miss? Let's have a look. Oh, sorry. That was incorrect. AWS is not. So I got that one the wrong way around. So that's a good
The correct answer to that one is that we support the Suite Edge in AWS, but maximum number of sessions is 480.
80, yeah.
480.
So that's FXO options. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that. I'm not sure that answer is actually right. I'll check that one. Okay. All right. So we're going to continue anyway. So okay, so now we're going to talk about how our SBC Edge interoperates with Teams, Zoom, WebEx, and the other cloud UC providers. So one key point here is that it seems like we've been doing cloud migrations for a long time in the voice business, but actually we have a potential billion seats still to go. So if you look at the number of phone users today, there's about 35 million, certainly under 50 million phone users of the 850 million cloud-based collaboration seats in the enterprises around the world. So under 5% of seats have actually been enabled for phone service. So there's still a lot to go. And we think there's at least another billion phone seats to convert to cloud in the next decade. So this is still a big market. There's a number of different ways to connect to the cloud. The two basic architectures are carrier cloud peering, which is between the UC provider and the telecom provider. And the UC provider, in that case, delivers a SIP. So the telecom provider delivers a SIP trunk to the UC provider, and each telecom provider has a lot of customers for each UC provider, so it's usually multi-tenant SIP trunk that they pass between the two. And in this environment, an SBC is not required because there's no dial tone being delivered to the premise. But SBCs are deployed in the cloud for this. The enterprise access architecture, which is the one we're going to be talking about mainly today, is the one where the telecom provider provides a SIP trunk to the customer premise, and the customer provides IP connectivity to the UC provider. So the UC provider and the telecom provider are basically separately contracted by your customer. And in this case, a locally administered SBC is what is required in order to route the calls correctly. So this is the most common that we see for architecture that we see for a number of reasons. And we'll go through those in a minute. So for cloud, carrier cloud peering, we have a Ribbon Connect offer. For Microsoft Teams has an offer called Operator Connect. Zoom Phone has Provider Exchange. WebEx has Cloud Connect. These are all carrier cloud peering offers. The enterprise access offers, which are the ones which our partners are normally most interested in, each of the UC providers has a different offer. Here, there is direct routing from Microsoft Teams, premises peering from Zoom Phone, local gateway from WebEx, and SIP link from Google Voice. And in each of these cases, we have an SBC offering, and specifically for direct routing, we have an as-a-service Ribbon Connect offer as well, all of which can be sold by you to enterprise customers. And we're going to focus, as I said before, on this area. So it's the Microsoft Teams Direct Routing Service, Zoom Phone Premises Peering, WebEx Local Gateway, and Google Voice SIP Link, for all of which there is a product which our partners can resell to the enterprise to deploy either on the premise, in their own private cloud, or in the public cloud as part of an enterprise access solution. So we're just going to take that quiz. Hopefully I'll have better luck with that quiz. So let's move on to the quiz. I certainly passed it last time, so let's see if I'm good for it this time. So we'll start the quiz. So what enterprise UC provider offers does Ribbon in SBC interoperate with? Select all that apply. So we interoperate with Zoom Phone Premises Peering, Microsoft Direct Routing, and WebEx Local Gateway. We don't, although we do have an offer for Operator Connect, it's not an enterprise access UC offer. What are the Ribbon offers to provide enterprise access for Microsoft Teams? So we can provide Ribbon Connect and SBC. Those are the two things which we offer. Premises Peering and SIP Link are not from are not Microsoft Teams offers. They are Google and WebEx. No, Google and sorry, forgotten the other one. Okay, what is the Ribbon's offer to provide carrier cloud peering? Is carrier cloud peering is Ribbon Connect. How does an SBC provide enterprise access to the cloud? So we provide via PRI to the service, via SIP trunk to the business site, via PRI to the UC provider. SIP trunk to business site. How many phone seats are estimated still to need to be transitioned to the cloud? We think there's 1 billion. And I passed. Fantastic. So now we're going to go through direct routing for Teams offers. This is an area in which Ribbon has particular strength. And we're going to go through how it works for the small, large, and also for the cloud-hosted Ribbon Connect service. So what is Teams? Teams is a collaboration environment from Microsoft. It provides increased productivity for employees, allows them to connect to their colleagues in the office, at home, just about anywhere. It's supported on multiple platforms, and it is an easy add, and it provides video sharing and collaboration with Microsoft applications. So very, very powerful tool for the enterprise. It really lowers communications costs because those connections can go over the private network of the communications provider over the internet. It's not metered, and it also improves productivity because employees can interact more easily with each other and share information. So how do they add a phone service to this? So the basic requirement is Microsoft offers phone license, a Teams phone license on a per user basis. So those are supplied by Microsoft. You may be a Microsoft partner already selling those, in which case you'll know all about this. But if not, what happens is you get your phone license. That allows you to use Teams Phone within the Teams environment. So within a closed Teams user group, shall we say. However, if you want to break out of that into the public network, into the phone network, you need a license to do that. And if you're going to integrate to a PSTN provider of your choice, or integrate any legacy equipment, you will need an SBC in order to do that. And what that then does is you have to get that configured correctly. So you're obviously connecting to a PSTN provider, the UC provider of choice, which in this case would be Microsoft because it's Teams, and the legacy devices on your premises, which are not Teams phones, which might be PBXs or elevator phones or, as I said, emergency phones on firing ranges. So that's essentially what you do to the steps to add a fully functioning phone system to your Teams to make Teams phone users effectively the same as phone users anywhere else in the world. Now, Microsoft Teams offers 3 PSTN calling options, and we're going to focus on the middle one. Microsoft offers calling plans. Calling plans are basically an offer where Microsoft is your PSTN provider as well. They are your network operator, and therefore the SBC is not required. Microsoft negotiate deals with various PSTN providers around the world so that they can get connectivity from those countries, from Teams phone users in those countries, into the telephone network. It does not, however, include the ability to integrate existing PBX systems or legacy systems because it's not got any adaptation on site, and it's not available in all countries either. So if you are planning a rollout for an enterprise which is operating in multiple countries, it may or may not have Microsoft calling plans availability in every country, which creates obviously its own operational issues for the enterprise. Operator Connect is where the enterprise chooses a service provider. Microsoft isn't the PSTN provider, but it is limited to those authorized telecom providers who are Operator Connect certified. Now, this is a growing number of telephone providers. There is a hosted SBC in this solution, but it isn't something that it's hosted by the service provider, so it's not something typically that our partners tend to sell because the enterprise is not buying an SBC of any kind. However, direct routing is the major application that we see in enterprises because it allows them to migrate their existing PBX and other legacy equipment at a rate which suits them. It allows them choice of the service provider to just about any service provider in the world. It allows them the choice of UC, obviously with, in this case, because it's Microsoft Direct Routing, it's always going to be Microsoft, but it just allows much more flexibility. And the one that permits the PBX migration, Direct Routing, is the one which forms most of our SBC sales to enterprises. So why would enterprises use direct routing with an SBC rather than one of the other options? Well, the first thing is that the calling plan is effectively a lock-in strategy by Microsoft. So you don't really get any choice on the rate that you pay. So there's no opportunity to negotiate with alternate service providers. And that obviously affects the cost per minute. So many enterprises prefer to run that negotiation themselves rather than just rely on Microsoft, to be honest. The Operator Connect or calling plans also may not be available in every country or in every other enterprise has a location. So that is an issue. And if the customer has existing PBXs or legacy devices like faxes, those cannot be migrated. They all have to be replaced at a stroke, which is extremely difficult to do. So most customers that have existing legacy equipment want to migrate that at a pace which makes sense to them and to their accountants. So the direct routing route is often the preferred one for enterprises. Now, Microsoft takes security extremely seriously. So they insist that a session border controller for direct routing is approved by them. We have invested a great deal of time and energy in making sure that we meet or exceed Microsoft's requirements for inspection, security, and interoperability. And so when you sell a Ribbon SBC to one of your customers, they can be assured that it meets all of Microsoft's requirements for direct routing PSTN interconnectivity. So the sort of functions that we're talking about is wire speed inspection of all traffic, encrypting the traffic, providing control functions, protection against denial of service attacks, and interoperability to all kinds of different environments, legacy environments, and different PSTN environments. So we have two SBC options that are very common. The first one is the on-premise deployment, and the second one is the cloud deployment for the SBC, which is under the control of the enterprise itself. So clearly, when the SBC is deployed on the premise, then the Teams server is in the Microsoft Cloud. You have the SBC as it can be a device, it can be one of our appliances, or it can be a virtual one on a private cloud. It connects to the SIP trunks to the service provider. It connects directly to the legacy systems, the contact center, analog phones, and so on. The Teams phones are all connected via the Teams instance in the enterprise. The Teams SIP server in the cloud communicates with the SBC to ensure that calls are correctly routed. In the cloud deployment, the enterprise has only Teams phones, and they communicate with the Teams instance in the cloud. SBC is deployed in the cloud, and SIP trunks are provided between the SBC and the service provider. So the SBC here is providing SIP trunk connectivity to allow users to call from their Teams phone out into the public network, or equally to receive calls which are coming in from the public network on their Teams phone. So these are the two deployment models, and we cover both of them. We also support a capability called media bypass. So in a voice network, latency is very critical. Voice is a latency critical service. Latency is the delay in packet arrival time. And an example we're giving here is of a service provider which is in Australia, a customer which is in Australia, an enterprise with a location, an office in Australia, but using a Teams server which is based in a data center in Singapore. So in that case, we need to ensure that the latency sensitive packets, which are the ones carrying the voice information, do not get routed all the way to Singapore and back to Sydney again, or Brisbane, wherever it is now, probably Melbourne. So the way that this works is that we pass the signaling traffic that sets up the connection to the SIP server in Singapore, the Teams signaling in an encrypted manner, but we ensure that the voice packets that are routed by that signaling go the shortest path through the public cloud or through the public interconnect to the PSTN interconnect locally in Australia. So this is the way in which we ensure that there is high quality for Australia to Australia calls, even though it's being controlled by a SIP server in Singapore. And this is media bypass. I mean, any kind of delay in a voice call and packet delivery, it only has to be a second or so before it renders the call unusable. So emails can obviously be delayed by 10 seconds. Voice can't. Voice packets can't. So this is how we do this with Teams in a real example, and this is how we do it in a sort of diagrammatic way. But the key point here is that it ensures that media bypass makes sure that the media takes the most latency efficient route, and the signaling, obviously in an encrypted manner, takes the route it has to the signaling server. Another key point is the easy configuration. So we can get you set up for a direct routing in minutes. And this is a real selling point with customers looking to migrate, is that we've already built the common configurations in wizards so that you can select them. There we have updated settings for Azure. So we've got best practice instructions. So getting set up with an SBC is really a quick process. 3 steps: select the team scenario from the wizard, enter the endpoint specifics, and apply. And there's no reboot required. So you're up and running literally within minutes using our wizards. Another key capability, which is in our 1000, 2000, and our SWE Edge in a premise-based deployment, is a direct routing survival branch appliance. So this is essentially a SIP server instance, which contains sort of Teams instance, which is dedicated to phone service locally on premise. The way we do this is it's an application server which operates inside. It actually operates on a separate processor inside the SBC 1000 and 2000. And for the SBC SWE Edge, it requires an additional VM running this dedicated service, so that should the site be disconnected from the cloud completely, local calling and also calling breakout to the PSTN, to the public service telephone network, still continues to operate, even though the internet connection is gone. So if you have an organization which has only, say, one WAN connection to the site in a rural area where there's no alternate choice, or if you have real mission critical business objectives, or you have SLAs, so your customer has SLAs to meet, then this is a key capability for them. And why we have particularly good implementation of the SBA is 2 things. We have the configuration parameters are extremely simple. We have a single easy config wizard. It's all in the same management system. But probably more significantly than that is that we use a single security certificate for the SBC and the SBA. Security certificate management is a key headache for anybody's enterprise network operator, and we have a single one for each SBC and SBA instance, and therefore it's halves the administrative effort to maintain security in the network for the enterprise network operator. So the key points here we've got on direct routing for Teams. Why is it a great offer? We have the SBA, which allows us to eliminate migration roadblocks because we can assure that the calling remains available even in case of an internet outage. We're using the SBA uses the software, which is Microsoft software, to assure the support. It integrates with the SBA and the SBC, so they're simple single administration management system, and you can easily move users between Teams and PBX phones. So you can migrate between the Teams and the PBX without having to reboot anything. So let's quickly go through the quiz for this one. It's like I passed last time, so let's retake it. So how is it that the SBC with SBA eliminates migration roadblocks? So we have Microsoft designed software. We don't use a single processor. They're actually 2 separate processors. We don't use a static password string for security certificate. And we do continue calling in case of connection outage. The main selling points for the SBC SBA option are we have integrated admin on one screen. We only have 1 security certificate required. It's not bundled with Teams. The most appropriate description of survival branch appliance option for SBCs. It provides continuity of Teams phone service in case of not PSTN failure, but in case of internet failure. Doesn't add emergency calling. It is a local Teams instance dedicated to phone services. That is the most appropriate description. Does not provide more Teams phone features. It just provides a localized instance. The key features of SBC setup for Teams. So the great thing about it is we have 3 steps. We have up-to-date Azure settings. We have no reboot. We do have templates. So just a bit of a trick question, a trick answer. What are the benefits of the SBC Edge Media Bypass? We select all that apply. So it optimizes international calling costs. It keeps the reduction in voice service latency. It actually uses the cloud backbone if it can, but these are the key 2 advantages. It optimizes the international calling costs and it reduces the voice service latency. The common SBC options with Microsoft Teams are on-premises Edge SBC with SIP trunking, public cloud deployed Edge SBC with SIP trunking. PSN deployed SBC is really the operator connect, the carrier peering option. So that isn't common. And third-party posted here as the PSTN access is not a thing. So what are the most important requirements for SBC for direct routing? Select all that apply. So we have interoperability, encryption and traffic policing, wire speed inspection. I mean, virtualization is nice, but the most important things are these 3. What are the drivers to use direct routing with an SBC? Select all that apply. So existing PBX is needing to maintain service. Calling plans may not be available at the location. Call plan may be expensive. And they may need to transition an existing contact center. So all of those things apply. Which of the following are Microsoft PSTN calling options? So Microsoft PSTN have direct routing. Microsoft can also offer calling plans, as we mentioned before. Local gateway and premises peering are actually competing offers from other UC providers. What is required for Teams Phone? Obviously, a Teams Phone license is required. Connection to the PSTN is required. A SIP desk phone is not required. You can use that as a client on your PC. A local gateway is not required. These are the things which are required. Key features of Teams Phone in Microsoft Teams. So really, it's all about employee productivity. It does not reuse an existing desk phone. It uses a Teams Phone. It runs on multiple platforms, and it integrates business calls with Microsoft Teams. And what are Microsoft's requirements for an SBC for direct routing? Interoperability, security, inspection. Here we go, 12 out of 12. I've obviously done this before. So we'll continue to the next section. I'm just going to pause and look at some of the questions that have been asked. Okay, about SBA, Thomas is asking if Microsoft servers are experiencing an outage, will the calls keep working? Yes, that is how SBA works. So SBA takes a local instance of a Teams server for phone service, and it maintains that data set. So if the Microsoft servers go out, calls will keep working. Obviously, they will be routed to the PSTN only, because well, they could still, I guess, be routed. Let me think. Yeah, generally they will be routed to the PSTN, But if the Microsoft servers are gone, you can still manage the local calling from your registered users in the which are connected to the SBC. Okay, so let's move on to the next lesson. So this is lesson 5. We've got a couple more lessons to go, so I think we're still good on time. So this is the contact center. We have a quick overview of the applications of SBCs with contact center. So one of the key things to understand about contact centers is, although they are very sophisticated systems, at their heart, they are really just distributing customer interactions to agents. That's what they're about. And they're about making that efficient in terms of the number of agents. So it's all about optimizing the labor cost of dealing with your customer interactions. So there's lots of different capabilities which contact center solutions offer, multiple queues, multiple agents can be added dynamically or removed. You can have oversight and real-time supervision, but the fundamental function is distributing customer interactions to agents. And these are incoming calls. So this is effectively where an organization is opening up themselves to potential attack as well, because they want incoming calls from the outside, from people who are not within their closed user group. And that is why security is a key aspect. So the main driver for this is business. We're not solving call distribution problems. We're solving labor cost issues. So it's about optimal use of labor, expediting the transition times, which directly impacts, customer satisfaction, top line revenue, bottom line expense. And the key thing about this is the ability to measure what you're doing. So the contact centers deliver large numbers of metrics, and you need to be sure that what you are saving here in terms of your contact center investment can be documented and proven. So how do we protect those investments? These are typically quite large investments by enterprises. And the key things that we do are protect against security threats and overload conditions. And in order to do that, we employ the capabilities of the SBC in packet filtering, some sophisticated techniques that mask the topology of the network behind the SBC. We prevent toll fraud. We recognize we can with analytics, which I would strongly recommend that you also look into our analytics offers if you are dealing with enterprises with call centers. We can also spot fraudulent activity using our analytics package and the reports which our SBCs send to our analytics platform, and also overload conditions. So we protect against overload conditions and also their close cousin, the denial of service attack, which is a slightly more hostile, if you like, one-time overload event. So these are things which the Ribbon SBC is able to protect against, and we can process this and ensure that only the legitimate traffic is passed through to the call center, and that traffic which is suspicious or actually hostile is not routed to the call center and does not increase the workload on the people in the call center. So that's why the business case for Ribbon SBC makes sense. So anyone who's got a contact center, it's actually enhancing the capability of the contact center. It's improving the productivity because it's reducing disruption, it's reducing security threats. It's also connecting agents across sites. It allows you to expand onto multi-site working or multi-country working, even a disparate contact center platform. So your customer can have contact center in one country, which is one technology from one vendor, another country for another vendor, and we're able to manage that. And we can also help blend the premises and cloud-based agent pools together, because then people can be agents, whether on a Teams phone or they're on a home phone or on a mobile phone, or they're probably not a recommended solution, but it's possible. And we can also enable recording of calls, which for some customers, enterprises, particularly in the financial services area, is a regulatory requirement. so that sales which are made over the phone are documented by recording. So these are the key attributes of Ribbon SBCs as far as a contact center customer is concerned. So we have case studies on the partner portal, but if you're going to look at contact centers, and contact centers are big business, enterprises with contact centers are a huge opportunity for Ribbon SBCs, and we have a top quality solution to protect their investment there. So we'll do the questions here. So the key reasons why Ribbon SBCs make sense for contact center deployments: helps blend the cloud-based agent pools, connects agents on different contact center platforms, allows SIP rec, so SIP recording, and interworks with Ribbon Analytics, providing in-depth performance analysis. So I have a message here from Jihad. So as I know, SIPREC is not supported on 1000. Actually, Jihad, typically it would be unusual to see an SBC 1000 deployed for a contact center. Contact center applications tend to be quite high traffic. So it tends anyway to be a 2000 or a SWE that is used in contact center just because of the volume of calls. So you may be correct about it not being supported on 1000, but we very rarely see a 1000 deployed into a contact center environment. Okay, so let's move on. So how do SBCs protect contact center investments? Okay, it doesn't route the calls to the agents. It does protect against overload conditions. It does provide security protection and protection against TDOS. Don't think it provides. I can't remember if it provides protection against TDOS. I need to think about that for a second. It definitely provides the protection against DDoS attacks. I think it does as well. TDOS. Let's do that. Which of the following key drivers for contact center deployment? So it's optimal use of labor, primarily business goals, expediting transition times. It's not really about complex call distribution problems. And which of the following are typical contact center attributes? So dynamic adds of agents to resource pool. It actually enables parallel communication with agents and supervisors. Doesn't always manage in a single queue. It can manage multiple queues, but does offer a systematic model to distribute interactions to agents. There we go. So let's continue on to the next section. So in this section, we're going to talk about some additional capabilities, about why SBC is a key seller in the enterprise space. So the wizard is a key selling point. It's complicated migrating to the cloud, and for most enterprises, this is a big challenge. We've made it simple by having years of experience in this area and putting the common provisioning scenarios into a set of pre-choosable scenarios or pre-selectable scenarios, so that it makes it easy to do the three-step setup. And this experience here of all these different possible provisioning scenarios, SIP trunks to Teams, SIP trunks to IP phones, SIP trunks to different IP PBX types, SIP trunk to ISDN PBX, ISDN PBX to Teams. All these things are documented in our technical documentation and also in our wizards, which are built into the Ribbon SBC configuration wizard. So it's really the fact that we have this experience and we've built this experience into the tools makes it easy for your customers to make their migration. Encrypted management communications. This is absolutely critical. So all the management communications on SBC is SNMP v3 encrypted. That's an absolutely key requirement for any enterprise, that the policeman, if you like, doesn't have the ability to be controlled by anybody else. The SWE Edge interoperability is key. It's a wide range of interoperability with contact center. We tend to see SWE Edge is our major deployment for contact center applications. We can also interoperate with all these legacy providers. So you can see Mitel, Nortel, Avaya, Cisco, Asterisk, and also a huge range of PSTN providers. So we have homologation in many countries around the world. You can see that there is actually a homologation tool which you can I'll show you in the homepage briefly. Where is the homepage? Oh, maybe I've lost my my homepage again. So here there's a homologation hub, which gives you the homologation status of our products in countries around the world. As you can see, well, maybe not immediately. I need to make that probably a little smaller. This is all the different product variants, and as you can see, we have a wide variety of countries here, which in which we hold a homologation, and you can check the individual product capabilities in any one of these countries. So if I were to look at Australia, you can see what is approved and what is not approved on SBC 1000 down to the individual interface levels. Okay, so moving back to our training, we really have a very wide range here in our product portfolio. SIP message manipulation. So this is a key capability of the SBC because we have that back-to-back agent, user agent. It enables us to address any SIP protocol issues, headers, changes. We can execute based on ingress, in other words, where a call is coming from, or egress, so where the call is going to. It allows common interop issues to be resolved very quickly. And we have simplified certificate management. So as we pointed out, before the SBC and the SBA share a certificate, but also we have a very simple process in order to manage certificates. You have a simple import, and then you have an export for sharing with peers. So it's really a very simple process to manage security certificates on the Ribbon SBC, and this is going to make lots of friends for you in the network communications maintenance engineering community in your enterprise customers. We talked about the integrated SBC management, again, integrated as part of the same management interface. So unlike other vendors who have separate management interfaces, so it's a lot easier for the customers to set up a branch of survivability using our SBA, and very simple feature license management. So this is literally just a cut and paste. So you can see what features you have activated on SBC, and you cut and paste the license key in order to activate the new features. And finally, we have internet destination route redundancy. So this is it's common practice to have two distinct internet connections for resiliency. So the SBC recognizes the primary route, and if it's down, it then forwards calls to a backup route. So it gives a very high level of resiliency for the cloud communication services, the UC connectivity here. And also, as we said before, the SBA will allow calls to continue even when all of this is broken. But in order to mitigate the risk of that even happening, we have internet destination route redundancy built into our SBCs. So I did okay last time. Let's see how we do this time. So how do we maximize resilience to site network connection failure? So we have destination route redundancy. Call state synchronization between SBC pairs is possible in our HA configuration, but the key thing that we have here is destination redundancy. We don't have a primary and backup SBC support. Integrated backup wireless, we don't have either. We just do this with the route redundancy. How are the feature licenses activated on Ribbon SBCs? Feature licenses, cut and paste, dead simple. How many additional management instances are needed to manage the SBA? None at all. It's the same management instance for both the SBC and the SBA. How many steps are required to create a security certificate? 3 steps. Which of the following are supported by Ribbon SIP message manipulation? So we can manipulate ingress, we can manipulate egress, we can modify SIP headers, and we can modify SIP requests. We can do everything. Which of the following are all telecoms providers solutions with which SBCs have been proven to work? So let's look at this. So there are telecoms providers solutions. So we interwork with Zoom, Five9, Genesys, and Mitel and Bell. NICE, CX1, Teams, Avaya, AT&T. RingCentral, Twilio, Nortel, Optus, and also Cisco, Genesys, Telecom, and BT. Which management protocol is used for the management communications? It's SNMPv3. Which of the following are provisioning scenarios included in the SBC configuration wizard? So we have ISDN, PSDN to Teams, SIP trunk to Cisco's Call Manager, SIP trunk to Teams. We do not do PSDN signaling system number 7. Okay, that is a completely PSDN internal protocol. Doesn't touch the enterprise. Okay, so it looks like I did okay this time. So we'll continue to the next section. Now we're going to have a quick introduction of the Edge 8000. So the Edge 8000 is our newest SBC Edge edition. It combines routing, session border controller, and analog gateway in the same hardware. So the way we do that is we are running an enterprise class router, 10 gig enterprise class router on the platform. We also are running our SBC Suite Edge as a virtual application on the platform. And then we have additional interfacing on the Edge 8300, which provides the gateway functionality for primary rate interfaces, FXX and FXO interfaces. So that's really what's all in the box. Why do we put all this in the box? Because we see there is an increasing number of enterprises who are really going cloud first. Everything for them is on the cloud. For those organizations, they will have large numbers of applications which are running in the cloud already. So what they need is high bandwidth routing on site to give them, their employees access to those cloud applications. And on the back of that, they need the mitigation which an SBC gives them to allow their voice services to run seamlessly also over that high-speed internet connection. So this is really the key here. This is for, I would say, new enterprise or enterprises who are looking to make a step change to do everything in the cloud, but still to have the ability to interconnect into potentially legacy devices, the elevator phone or the firing range emergency phone, and also to have a separation of their routing environment from the carrier service provider routing environment. So carrier grade network address translation built in. So this is a new step for us. We have already a portfolio of carrier grade routers in our IP optical portfolio, but this is where everything comes together on the edge of the network in the customer premise for cloud first organizations who are looking to put everything onto one gateway into the cloud, one service gateway into the cloud. The two Edge 8000 options we have available today, the 8100 and the 8300. 8100 is an IP only solution. 8300 has the ISDN interfaces here, the primary rate ISDN interfaces on T1E1, and also the FXO and FXS interfaces, which are connected via this Amphenol connector here on the back of the box. The gateway functions are essentially added on to the 8100. So the 8300 and 8100 are the same, except that the 8300 has the gateway functions. It's a 1RU box. They have replaceable AC or DC power supplies. So that allows you maximum flexibility for data center applications. Okay, the spec is here. So we have an 8-core Atom CPU inside. We have two 10G SFP Plus ports here for the 10 gig Ethernet and 8 1G ports. Now these are typically the WAN ports, the LAN ports rather, and these are typically the WAN ports, but it's a full enterprise class router, so you can configure the ports any way you like. Okay, and again, common to both platforms, we have the power supply units which can be swapped out. So 8300 in a bit more detail. So the two options here for the analog ports, which are supported here on the Amphenol connector, are 22 FXS and 2 FXO, or 24 FXS, in other words, all FXS. And then we've got the T1E1 ports here for the ISDN primary rates, and they're ideal really for contact center and legacy PBX, and then connecting the analog actual phone devices that you have through the Amphenol connector, things like elevator and door phones and so on, and fax machines. Now, in order to access those gateway functions, it is necessary to enable the SUI Edge SBC license on this box. So it doesn't operate as a gateway without that SUI Edge SBC license. And if you go into the Edge 8000 sales training, you'll see exactly how the different configurations are put together for the Edge 8000 family, and how the licensing model works for that as well. But for the gateway, you definitely need the SUI Edge SBC license running on this box. So again, proven software inside. So it's the SUI Edge. We're on our 12th version of this software. It's extremely robust, well tested. It also uses the same SBC Easy Configuration Wizard. This is a little bit more powerful than our SBC 2000. It goes up to 900 concurrent sessions, and also includes full media services and transcoding capabilities. So it's all the capabilities of the SBC 2000 with higher capacity, and in addition to that, a router as well. So we'll just retake the quiz here. So the key features of the SBC Edge software inside the SBC Edge is that it offers media services and transcoding support. It's the Ribbon SUI Edge. It isn't Kubernetes orchestration, and it actually goes up to 900 sessions, so it's fairly powerful. Which of the following the primary applications of the 8300 gateway? It's really supporting traditional analog devices. Oops, I'm sorry. Oh, integrated legacy PBXs. I apologize. Get that one right next time. The features of the Edge 8300. You can have two FXOs. It's 1U high, it's not 2U's high. You have 8 1G internet Ethernet connections, and you can have 24 FXS or 22 FXS plus 2 FXO. So you can support that as well. I'm not sure if it's going to mark me right on that one or not, but it's 24 is the number that you can do if it's just FXS. I think I'll just leave that one out for the moment. So the features of the 8100, as for the 8300, it has a redundant AC or DC power supply. It has two 10G SFP plus Ethernet slots. It will go to, it will not support FXX or T1E1 because these are gateway functions. 8100 is an IP only box. The key capabilities: Edge 8000 doesn't do core control. It does routing, it does SBC, and it does gateway. Oh, I missed a second one. Let me see what it was. Maybe it marked me down for the... No, we knew that was wrong. Oh, okay. I should have put 22 analog FXS. That was my my mistake. Okay, so let's continue. It would be boring if I got everything right. Yeah. So let's have a look at the SWE Edge. The SWE Edge is our virtualized SBC enterprise offering. It's got exactly the same security and feature set and ease of use as our other SBCs. It can go into Azure or Amazon Web Services public cloud. We also have a version which goes into Microsoft Hyper-V, VMware, or KVM. So that way you've got virtualized on-premise or public cloud deployment choices. We've certified with all the popular UC and contact center services, deployed with hundreds of different brands of PBX and contact centers, and it has the smallest CPU, RAM, and storage footprint of any SBC on the market today, any fully functional SBC on the market today. So that's one of the key operating cost benefits of our SWE Edge. We also have the ability to do a high availability version of the SWE Edge. This works on premise-based installations today. So you would require 2 VMs, each running a separate instance of the SWE Edge. They have to be on the same subnet. They have to have a dedicated link between them. But if the active SBC instance fails, all the core processing is taken over to the redundant or standby SBC, even mid-call. So the standby SBC instance takes over everything, and the 2 SBC instances need to be on the same subnet. And that's how you ensure that they have the synchronization at sufficiently high, low latency, shall we say, that enables them to take over a call even when it's in mid-flow. Okay, now the key thing is we haven't yet got the public cloud version of this. There are different strategies of the different public cloud providers, but we're working on it. Okay, so the key thing is what's available today, what you can sell today, is an HA, a high availability version of the SBC SWE Edge for customer premise virtual deployments. So you can have, say, different different servers, as long as they're on the same subnet, different physical servers running different instances to ensure a high level of reliability. So we said before, it only works on KVM, VMware, and ESXi today. Hyper-V qualification is still in progress. We have 2 VM instances with 4 CPUs and 4 gigabytes of RAM, and you need a dedicated HA port. They need to be on the same subnet. It's static IP addressing, so there's no rerouting or OSPF delays trying to figure out IP addresses, and a dedicated management port. But if customers are able to put that in place, then they have the ability to run the high availability version of SWE Edge. It also supports call recording. As I mentioned earlier, that's a key thing for our contact center applications, and we've been tested with a number of third-party devices. Now, SIP-REC sessions do take, because we're basically duplicating the sessions, it does take an additional amount of capacity, so the capacity is reduced on those sessions to 50% of the maximum capacity of the SWE Edge, just because let's say we're duplicating those paths. We also have a cloud survivability approach for the SWE Edge. So if you have SBC SWE Edge located on a premise and your primary connection fails to the telecom provider, then it will look for dynamically switch to alternate route, alternate servers if it sees the primary route has fallen out. And it can also use an optional onboard SIP registrar, so you can keep local calling going, even in the event of a loss of that connectivity to the upstream SIP providers if everything goes out. So SWE Edge has a very survivable set of features to ensure that the voice service continues, even in the case of connection fallout to the telecom provider. It's also available on Amazon Web Services. So you have typical use cases. It's Cloud UC, contact center, SIP trunking, executes all the typical use cases in AWS, and it delivers a service on the low-cost burstable T3 dot small instance. So that's the lowest it can go to. So very cost-effective. It says 2 cents per hour, and you can check your pricing here on this link. It's also available as an Amazon machine image from the Ribbon portal, so you can just go in and drop that straight into AWS. Its compute efficiency is quite impressive. So the T3 dot small processor will run up to 100 sessions. And obviously that reduces when you have to do media manipulation, like transcoding and so on. Or with encryption, it doesn't affect the capacity unduly. Whereas if you go to the larger ones, the C5.large and the C5.xlarge processors, they have increased capacity up to 300 sessions or 1,000 sessions. However, it drops down to the default scenario here, which is like no transcode but inbound services, or G711 going to G729 AB or G711S. So this is typically like a mobile phone to fixed phone situation. Then the maximum capacity drops down to 480. Okay, but it's an extremely efficient use of Amazon Web Services VMs. We believe this is the best performance offered by any SBC in the business, and it's easy to get started. So you fill out the online form, we auto reply with the formation template URLs and links. User pastes the fields into the AWS setup process. SBC is auto created. You send we send 2 follow-up emails to the user, following up on their experience. And then we have a Ribbon Inside salesperson who acts as a liaison for the licenses and the license purchase. So we really take care of your customers when they go to Amazon Web Services, and it makes the whole process very, very straightforward for them. So we also see a lot of SWE Edge deployed in Azure Marketplace. Clearly, if you're a Microsoft partner, you would have an interest in maximizing Azure consumption under their program. And this is really quick. So we have a quick launch offer, which is 10 steps, which is finished in minutes. It includes an easy configuration wizard for Teams, so you can do your Teams setup. So again, it's all about ease of deployment here. It's available on the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. You can do a quick launch deployment. So there's actually a quick launch option here, which you can locate in the Amazon Marketplace. Then they run through the 3 steps here, build your SBC through 5 tabs, create that, confirm the deployment, navigate and log in. So this is really a really fast setup. One big advantage which Azure offers if the user is using Teams and they have the Teams and the UC or the contact center deployed in Azure, is that the traffic, the actual voice traffic, can go over Azure's own backbone network, which is much more reliable, lower latency than routing traffic via the internet. So this is a big advantage which Azure offers for Teams users, people who are enterprises who are using Teams. You can deploy the SWE Edge in Azure, Teams in Azure, and you have assured security of the connections here and assured latency of the connections here. And this is even true if they're in different data centers across the globe, because Microsoft Azure has built a very high-speed backbone between their data centers. That can dramatically improve quality of service versus how to route out through the public internet. And it also increases the Azure quota retirement if you're a Microsoft partner. So if it's Teams and the customer has, your customer has Teams, and they also have they're willing to put the SWE Edge into Azure, then you have a really good solution there. Compute efficiency and performance. So broadly similar to the what you see in Amazon Web Services, still a very high standard here. So we can get to smallest, the B1 MS processor gives you, or a virtual machine gives you 100 SIP sessions. So this is kind of on the same scale as our smaller SBC 1000. But sorry, 10 SIP sessions. This is a really tiny one. This is really for trials. 100 SIP sessions on the B2S is like our SIP, our SBC 1000, and then it goes all the way up to 1,000 sessions here for just SIP to SIP. If there are public service interconnections, public network interconnections with transcoding, then it drops down to 480, as we saw with the Amazon Web Services version. Sorry, somebody seems to be on. George, I think yours. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so so the one thing you have to bear in mind is whenever you do media manipulation, you will see a hit that's reflected in this table. So just bear in mind the scenario that you're deploying for the enterprise. You know, are they going to be doing a lot of media manipulation? Because if they are, then you're going to see this this halving of the capacity compared to the plain SIP to SIP situation. Nonetheless, very efficient user of Azure VM capacity. As we said before, there's the bandwidth efficiency benefit. So we already talked about the voice quality advantage of running over Microsoft's backbone versus the public internet. You can design that into the Teams deployment to avoid a hop to the edge if you deploy the SWE Edge in Azure when you're using Teams as your UC. So with some this additional hop to the premise can be avoided here by deploying from going from a premises to an Azure deployment, and that further reduces latency and improves quality. Okay, and then the final chart is the trial. So you can go into Azure, you can load down a B1 MS VM, costs about $22 a month, and a 30-day embedded trial license, supports up to 5 call sessions with silk transcoding, valid for 30 days. So this is available as an easy way to set up your customers with a SWE Edge trial if they have access to Azure, and it's our kind of introductory offer to get them to understand and test out the capabilities of the Ribbon SBC deployed in Azure Cloud. Okay, let me just have a look at the questions. I think Rafa is answering the questions as we go, which is great. Thank you, Rafa. I really appreciate it. So Azure cloud to cloud connectivity happens automatically. No, that it does need to be configured. But once those instances are in the cloud, Microsoft will preferentially route data center to data center on their own network, Jihad. So you need to configure both of them in the cloud, in Azure cloud, and then Microsoft will take care of the connectivity. Okay. Oh, I didn't pass. What did I miss out on here? Oh, I didn't do very well. Was this last time, or did I just take this? It's not very good. Let's see what we got wrong there. I was correct. So $22. Oh no, we haven't done this one yet. Sorry. Let me do this trial again. The quiz on this. Hold on. Well, we can just go through the answers here, okay? So bandwidth efficiency when deploying Edge instead of virtually on premise. Improves multiplexing efficiency on the SIP trunk telecom provider. I think actually this is wrong. I need to change this answer. This is actually these are the correct answers, but for some reason they're incorrect. So I'll get that fixed. I apologize. That's lesson 8, question 2. Okay, how many G7 to G8 can be supported by inbound longer? So you really need to know the table here. The answer here is 120. But all I can suggest here is definitely go through the table here so that you understand the different capacity limitations on the different machines. Advice to deploying SWE Edge teams. Latency. No, it doesn't actually give you significant cost savings, but it does improve the latency if you do SWE Edge for teams in Azure, so as we've been discussing just now. How many steps required to launch a SWE Edge in Azure? It's less than 5. Quick launch offer for SBC SWE Edge in Azure. So it's we have a quick launch. It does not include the Teams E5 license. We do not sell Microsoft licenses, but it's a flexible standard offer, easy configuration wizard. 3 steps required to create a SWE Edge on AWS. Again, you need to know your table here. So on the AWS C5.X large VM, G7 G711, SIP real-time protocol sessions, 500. Following use cases supported by SWE Edge deployed in AWS. SIP trunking, not legacy T1 E1 PBX access, Microsoft Cloud's Team UC and Contact Center. Key capabilities for Ribbon to enable Edge to enable cloud survivability. It's dual SBC instances. We don't do core state synchronization between cloud and premise. We have rerouting of failed calls to the backup SIP route, and we have also the onboard SIP registrar. SIP route recording is required for regulatory compliance. We're tested with third parties, and we're on-premise or public cloud deployment. We don't have 100%, so there's a 50% hit on SBC capacity for SWE Edge for SIP rack sessions. And also the prerequisites for HA deployment. It only works at the moment on KVM or VMware ESXi. It's not currently working in the public cloud, although we're working on that. You need 2 VM instances, and they need to be on the same subnet. High availability, automatic signaling media switchover. We don't have public cloud and virtual on-premise. We only have virtual on-premise at this time. Avoid service disruption for the end user, common subnet between backup and standby instances. And it's reliable, secure, certified, efficient, and virtualized or public. So we know we didn't pass that one because there were some wrong answers, but you've now seen all the answers correctly marked. Now we're in the final course of the session, which is the SBC how it's used summary. So these are the key things. Common enterprise challenges being solved, systems interoperability, UC cloud migration, coverage of retail and branch locations, and contact centers. So these are the things which SBCs are used for. This is where we have a really strong offer. So the elevator pitch is really exactly here. We solve common enterprise voice modernization challenges from multi-vendor interop to integrating new legacy technologies, and we just make migrating to the cloud easier for the customer. We've got best-in-class security, flexible routing, and we've got a range of products which support from the smallest branch office to the largest headquarters location. So that's it for the course. Now, what I would encourage you to do is register, run through the course. It should be familiar territory now, because we've just been through the whole thing in detail, and then take the final exam at the end. I'm not going to take the final exam. There are 3 attempts, and if you don't pass, please contact your Ribbon sales administrator to get the test reset. So the address for that is channel support, which is all one word. I'll put it in the chat here. At ribbon.com. So if you do get to the point where you've run to the end of the test and you've had 3 attempts, you still haven't hit the 70% mark, please use this email address, channelsupport@ribbon.com, and we will get you reset for another 3 attempts. But please, it is quite possible to do this. I know I wrote most of the questions myself, so even I don't get 100%. Some of the questions are quite tricky. I would encourage you to persist, and there is one that is definitely wrong there. I see in lesson 8, which I will get fixed. So are there any questions to the training course? Okay, I don't see any big questions on there. As I say, anybody who's having trouble getting into the portal or into the training itself, or can't find the training, it's that same email address. Okay, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, so I think that's covered the material that I wanted to cover today. I was just going to see if there's anything else on the objective was to get you guys through the course so that you're able to take it and pass it. I will just talk briefly about what we do once you get into that portal. Some of the things which are interesting for you as a silver partner, why you might want to become a silver partner. There are two key benefits. One is that you can register deals using this register a deal button, and you can participate in our rewards program, which gives you credits. at the end of each quarter, which you can claim. And then you can spend those on a variety of things, mainly on marketing activities for Ribbon products, which can be fairly broadly defined. It is subject to our approval. We also allow you to spend it on additional training if you want to use them for more certification training. Once you become technically certified after the sales certification, then you can go to you get the technical certification, you become an accredited partner for that portfolio. You will get additional discounts on support contracts for that portfolio. So those are the two key reasons most partners are interested in becoming silver partners. Either they're interested in the support discounts, or they're interested in the rewards program and the deal registration. But both of those are available to you once you become a silver partner, and then after that, it's just a matter of growing the business with us and becoming more successful to go to the further tiers of gold and platinum, where things like the rewards get even more generous. So that's a quick overview of the program, where to go to get stuff. I hope that's been helpful for everybody. I look forward to seeing you all passing this test successfully and even doing better than me. And hopefully we're going to have a great business together. So thank you very much for your time.